We have Majespectors for you today. Crusadia, Gold Pride, Voiceless, and Generator. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. You wanted Majespector good stuff, right? You wanted the chance to see this deck actually leap into action and actually do something. Well, we've actually had the opportunity to see that actually occur. So this was a Majespector deck out of 59 people. It managed to lock down its top cut finish. And honestly, these non-targeting little guys actually are pretty strong right now. I think a lot more people, as this format kind of evolves here, Majespector might actually be a very strong call, just because, you know, most of the power that the Majespector stuff has is broken consistency. Also, I mean, yes, we have lances for defensive options. You know, being able to knock a guy down to your level with lance is actually pretty good. We're also playing double crossout designator, which I think is fine. We do see Secret Village of the Spellcasters as a one-up here, actually giving this deck some life. And, you know, this little guy right here, Nue, is an insanely broken card. You've also got, you know, access to Beyond the Pendulum and Exceed the Pendulum. Both of these toolbox additions to, you know, the Pendulum archetype are very, very strong. Outside of that, I mean, this deck just generates huge resource swings, giving you this chance to generate and push your opponent into a really detrimental corner. And I think it's one of the big things that can allow a deck like this the chance to shine. Also, once again, that non-targeting protection, you've got Drolls, you've got Ashes, you have all of your hand traps that you need in order to put that pressure on your opponent and be able to win a game. Also, I mean, Cyclone, Tornado, both excellent cards to curve out some of these more problematic matchups. Okay, next up is Crusadia Dogmatica with your Water Enchantress, Brave package, Horus good stuff. So how in the world does this deck even want to function right now? Well, you basically play an insane game of tee-hee-hee, I'm going to go second, and you slam your opponent as hard as you actually can. Alright, because Equimax is an insane card. I actually didn't realize this too much, but from what they were talking about, being able to just smash through on a crazy OTK turn with Equimax just puts you in such an insane advantage position. Like, it's actually kind of nuts. You know, especially what if, you know, we have him set these up with, you know, Hoppy, and, you know, suddenly you've got this stream roll of advantage going for you here, where you're starting to curve things on. Your opponent's like, I don't know what's going on. And also, hey, guess what? We also have Nadir Servant in here as well. We are playing Garua, which does give you access to the Dogmatica package in here. You know, an Ecclesia with a burst Fleur-de-Lis coming out of left field to steal a game away from your opponent can actually mean a lot. Also, you know, don't underestimate this adventure package. None of your normal summons in here really matter too much. Actually, I don't think any of them matter at all. All right, most of the time it's just going to be like full gas combo and, you know, kind of do your thing along the way. Outside of that, rest of the deck feels fine. Seeing Baron DeFleur in here, seeing, you know, your option trees for this. Also, you know, seeing the Drolls sided feels fine. I also see, yes, we are doing judgments. You want to make sure that you're, you know, you have protection if you really need to go first. You know, you can still set up some pretty crazy fields in here, but this isn't not what I expected to see today. Next up here, we have Gold Pride with just the punk stuff. I mean, this is, to be honest with you, this whole rendition of a deck has been not really a lot's changed. You know, the Gold Pride stuff just moved in with the punk cards, and they've been riding this very consistent wave for a while. Nothing really has changed in your deck build department there. Now, one little interesting tech choice I do see here is we are playing Yan Yan in here. Hey man, a free little E-Telly target that can, you know, recur back is honestly pretty welcome in here. We are doing 2 Gold Pride start your engines. You do play the 1 Dangerous Gabu. Most of your ratios that you're doing for the Gold Pride stuff I think is pretty normal. Now, one thing that they did tell me when they were playing this deck was Salesman was strictly an insane card. Salesman won them so many games because declare a card name for the rest of this turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with the same original name as that declared card. And the same restriction applies to you, but for the rest of this duel instead of just this turn. Now, we've seen plenty of troublesome cards that, you know, can detour your opponent, you know, punish you. So being able to have a declare on any sort of card for an entire turn, giving you the chance to kind of recover and set up is exactly the type of thing that you want to have. And Salesman gives you that. Now, should you extend this up to 3 for a deck like this? No. I think 2 is just the right number. You got to remember, if you're playing a deck like this, you know, your option trees that you're trying to go through are pretty normal, I feel like. Obviously, things like Fenrir are going to carry you, like, about 9,000 miles down the road. We have seen that time and time again out here. Good generic cards tend to be very, very strong options. Next up here is Voiceless Voice. We have covered so many Voiceless Voice decks this week, and you've seen all of these different little tech choices along the way that these builds are attempting to bring to the table. You know, now this build, instead of doing Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph, we chose to do double Sarvis, double Skull Guardian. That's fine. I do like Pendulum Graph. I think that the card is pretty cool for what it wants to do, but sometimes it feels like you're going to have to adjust the deck's ratios a little bit more to line up with that. And of course, finally, somebody out here understands that you want to play multiple Dynamondo out here to be able to split apart into the Skull Guardian during the next turn to re-bring up, you know, the Novox so that you can go ahead and place, you know, the trap face up on the field so you can kind of do your thing. Like, the value that this card gives this deck is actually insane. Now, I also want to give a shout out here to Summon Limit. Summon Limit is one of those floodgate cards that has such an insane impact on actual gameplay right now. Like, it's actually kind of nuts. I know a lot of people look at Summon Limit, they're like, I don't know if I can really afford that. You can, all right? This deck, once it gets past its turn 1, it's not going to start spinning things out too hard, all right? Like, maybe you set up a Skull Guardian, you know, your 4,100 attack points, you know, having the Omni Negate to answer these more immediate threats. You have most of your chance to cover your bases relatively easily. Like, that's the most important thing, is Skull Guardian will be the reason why you're going to be able to do a lot of these plays. I do see maximizing on this 1 Sarvis, triple copies of Nibiru, still playing Droll and Lockbird. All of the ratios and things that I think are present on this build absolutely work out quite beautifully. So, good stuff. And our last list we have here is Generator Runic. Now, I want to say that I feel like we don't see enough Generator Runic out here. The idea has kind of gone to the back seat. A lot of people have kind of started straying away from the ideas of this, or maybe, you know, they're like, oh, Earthbound Runic, you know, they want to try the new exciting thing out here. But for now, I think this is still good. I do see that this build is trying to play Ib, which is a really cool idea, being able to pull out the World Legacy monstrosity, as long as, you know, you can actually see it. That's kind of cool. I see this build's also playing Fire Attacker with the triple Impulse. I mean, you're basically trying to trigger this for a hand sculpt, quite possibly trying to make sure that you can find whatever Runic card that you need, or, you know, just to get a terrible bad Runic card out of your hand, or, you know, the chance to see the World Legacy monster. Either way, you know, if you got to get to your board breakers as well, the little engines that we have seen people trying to push out here with a deck like this is actually pretty good. The more deck building, the more innovations that you can kind of see out here, I think it can end up being a little bit better along the way. So I think that is fine. You know, we'll have to wait and see how things continue to develop, but for the most part right now, that's what we're working with. So what do you guys think about these relatively interesting decks? I am very curious. So please leave a comment down below. If you guys have seen anything do good, please feel free to send them on over, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons! Thank you. Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.